Welcome to the big program. We're in basketball mode here with basketball right around the corner. So we'll have basketball guests today. But first, I'm such basketball ready mode right now. Josh will throw up some pictures. Got back late last night, about 2 in the morning. Went to Lubbock to check out the NCAA Division II Sweet 16 between Lubbock Christian and West Texas A&M. And, of course, Amir Muhammad and Gonzalo Corbalon. There's Amir at the foul line pregame. They play for Lubbock Christian, so I went with Coach Jimenez. He kicked my butt at golf in the morning, and then at night we checked out. There's Gonzalo and Amir getting ready to check in. Amir was the conference's sixth man of the year. So check that out. That put me like in full basketball mode, not only because it's basketball, but also because that game, it was a 101-92 game. Lubbock Christian lost. They shot 61%. And they hit 14 threes, and they still lost the game. But it was such a high-quality game. My guest comes to us from Volcano Vista High School, and that's Jaquan Hill. Jaquan, have you ever been in a game where you shot 61% and still had no chance at winning?
Nah, that usually doesn't happen in games. You usually win those.
Yeah, we were watching, and we were just in amazement. This West Texas A&M team just had a point guard that would be the best guard of the Mountain West, no doubt. But, man, I want to get to you. First, I got to tell this story. So we run into each other this weekend, right? And yeah, I'm going to tell this story and watch you hoop a little bit and, tell you, hey, I want you to come on the show. And my man drops, I'm going to paraphrase, but my man dropped, what the hell took you so long on me, basically. Yeah, and I dig that, man. I like that. But I'm going to defend myself, okay? What took so long was, I never see you speak, ever. Ever. In a game, you're quiet. Yeah. Your game does all your talking. So, I was worried that maybe you were going to just sit there and be quiet.
No. Well, usually on the court, I'm pretty quiet. I just let my game do all the talking.
But it was not a slight at all, man. We're big fans of your game, that's for sure. And it seems like you've been around forever. You're one of those old dudes on the BYU team that's played for 6 years.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, this is only your junior year. But you came to us immediately bursting onto the scene as a freshman, immediately contributing to a winning team as a freshman. What was that like?
I mean, it was good because I started playing with the varsity. I didn't even have to try anything. Coach Brown just let me start with the varsity, and those guys really pushed me in practice, got me ready. So when it was time for playoffs, state, I was ready. I
mean, it's rare. I mean, it happens, but on a caliber team like that, and it seemed like you really didn't. Physically wasn't a problem at all. The physicality of the varsity game, that you were always pretty up to speed in that. Were there some early growing pains, or was it as simple as you made it look?
I think the biggest thing was just getting used to the pace, because just coming out of middle school and high school, or going into high school, the pace was a lot different. Because in AAU, it's not as structured as it is, and going with Volcano is real structured. You had to know what spots to be in, when to do this, all the sets. So that was just the biggest thing getting used to.
What about the size of the guys, man, in practice? When's the first time as a little freshman, Jelante Gray just knocked you on your ass? I mean, that had to have happened, right?
Well, yeah, it happened a couple of times, but I was really used to it because with my AAU team, we always played 2 years up. And so when we would go out of state, dudes were 6'8", 6'6", so it really didn't matter, especially when those are the best teams in the country. So you're used to it.
What was your first impression of Coach Brown and just the program, the culture he had, and all that?
I thought it was real good because everybody on the team is bought into one system, and it usually works. Everybody knows what to do, and it's all about family there. So I thought it was real cool.
I've heard these stories of his practices just being intense, man. Tell us about that.
Yeah, he'll push you. He'll yell at you, stop practice, make you run an entire practice if you're not listening to what he says. But it's because he has the end goal at mind. He knows what we want. And the last couple of years we lost state in the same round, and he just doesn't want that to happen again.
Right. Now, I've heard some rumors, if it's a 2-hour practice, you guys are going an hour, 50 minutes of defense, and then 10 minutes of offense. Is that true?
Sometimes, usually towards the beginning of the season, it's mainly defense, just trying to get in conditioned, and then towards state, we work on our offensive stuff, make sure everything's clean, make sure we know our sets and all this stuff.
Well, what does Coach Brown do differently than other coaches that you've had in the past?
What does he do differently? I think just like his mental preparation into everything, if it's practice, if it's game, he's just always mentally prepared, always has everything that he knows written down, and he just has that approach.
Let's shift gears for a moment and go into the classroom a little bit. Like, you're taking care of business there too, right? Tell us GPA wise and everything. I hear it's just off the charts.
I had a 4.0 really my whole high school career.
Yeah, no big deal, right? Yeah, just 4.0, you know.
Like
that's a big deal. Like that's a good thing.
Yeah, but I just know because like I was always scared as a kid because my mom would tell me, my parents would tell me, if you don't take care of school, they're not gonna let me play. So I just always use that because if I don't have the grades, I'm not going to play.
Well, that's the ultimate motivator, right? Like coaches say bench is the ultimate motivator. Well, when parents pull that grades thing, right, that's the ultimate motivator, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, but I mean, I don't want to downplay that because I feel like we don't talk about that enough. Like that's a huge thing. Like without grades, there's nothing. And like you're thinking about college at the next level, and your options are ultimately shrunk if you don't have the grades, right? But with your GPA, like your options are much more wide open. Talk about that.
Yeah, my coaches always, Coach Brown, my AU coach, Coach Chris, they always tell me if you have a higher GPA, then you're more marketable to all the colleges because they're not going to take a dumb kid. That means he don't listen in class, he doesn't listen on the court, doesn't transfer. So I just really try to do good in the classroom.
See, if we known that you had a 4.0, we would have played some NBA spelling bee today. When we have the smart kids in, we always do a little spelling bee, and I'm undefeated in that. So
NBA spelling bee, like the names?
Yeah, names. Yeah. I'm undefeated in that. I've never lost. I've always, played 4.0 guys, and I've never lost. But we didn't know that, so we weren't ready for that, I guess, man. So you lucked out there. Like, what was a harder transition then when you went to Volcano Vista? Was it the classroom or was it athletics?
It was probably the classroom, just because all the classes are longer and you just got to learn all the new curriculum and stuff. But the basketball, that just took care of itself.
We'll take our first time out here with Jaquan Hill. We'll come back, start talking about his freshman and sophomore seasons at Volcano Vista and much more.
High school sports are back. You can watch every Proview Network broadcast online on the NFHS Network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProviewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Car Crafters is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Back with Jaquan Hill of the Volcano Vista Hawks. We're talking about his stellar GPA before we went to the break. And, like, it is a big deal. Like, I've started watching you guys hoop a little bit on the weekends. And occasionally when there's kids there, like, of a lower background, like, of a lower grade and stuff, like, I don't know if you know this, but, like, they'll do the little tap on their friend's shoulder and be like, that's Jaquan Hill, or That's so and so. That's so and so. So these guys are already looking up to you. Who were some of the guys you looked up to when you were younger and getting ready to start your high school basketball career?
Probably like the dudes who were there before were like Jelante, Dre, Ben, all the dudes who played on the Dogs, because
Right.
you know we shared the same AAU team, so you'd always see those dudes in practice. So it was just cool to go to the same school as them and
Yeah.
be a part of that team.
Now you had your brothers as well. So talk about that. Your athletic background, it runs in the whole family. So talk about that.
Oh yeah, everybody in the family really played basketball. We just always be at one gym or another at somebody's games. It was just, you know, I had to play basketball. I didn't really want to play nothing else. It was just all I knew.
Did that start from your parents? Where else is the athletic background in the family?
Well, my dad claims he played football, basketball, and nobody's ever seen tapes.
If there's no tapes,
Nobody's
it didn't
ever
happen.
seen tapes. My mom, she said she played volleyball and basketball, and nobody's seen any tapes.
Well, I don't know, man.
know.
I've seen your hops. I could believe the volleyball part.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we most of our guests, their athleticism seems to come from the mom side. We've had a lot of moms that have that athletic background. So you're saying until you see the tapes, you don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't believe
But your brothers, obviously, you saw. So what did you look up to with your brothers? Because they obviously had successful careers here in New Mexico.
Yeah, it was just like going to the games. You'd see my brothers. They'd get like Metro Play of the Years, all these accomplishments, and it was just cool going to the games. They'd be packed, so you're just like, I want to be in that situation. You know?
Did that speed up your clock a little bit? I noticed when there's, like, when your brothers are successful at that level, right, then people start knowing, okay, that's the little brother, he's next. Like, all of a sudden, coaches start coming around. Like high school coaches start hanging around people when they're in the 7th grade because of the family. Did that speed your clock up?
Yeah, when I would go to the games, there'd be like some coaches at the games. They'd always tell me, try to come to our school
Right.
and all this stuff. Yeah, so that's what happened.
What is the most intense kind of competitive thing with your brothers that you remember?
Most intense. Well, I remember this is one of my older brothers. He played at Cleveland, but nobody really. He's not like Marquise and Marcus them. He was before them.
Right.
It was like 4th of July. We were all playing 21 outside, and I hit like this like step back on him, and I made him like sprain his ankle, and I hit the 3 in his mouth, and that was just like the most funniest moment.
So you remind him of that yearly at Thanksgiving?
All the time.
What about now? Did your brothers ever do that to you when you were little?
Nah, I would play with them. It was just hard to get rebounds and stuff. But when I got the ball, I would score.
Okay, all right. So, are there any other siblings now around, or are you the last in line right now, or is there a little brother in the picture, a little sister?
I got a little sister that's
Okay.
a freshman at Volcano.
Okay, that's scary
Yeah.
to think about because they're pretty good already. Does
Yeah,
she play ball?
Yeah, she plays ball.
Okay,
And
all right.
I got 4th grader, 3rd grader, and a kindergartner. They're all starting to play right now.
Well,
So yeah.
let the recruiting begin.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, wow. Okay, so we're gonna have another hill on the show for sure. All right, let's jump into your freshman year a little bit. Let's talk about actual on the court stuff. Highlight of that season. Is there anything stands out for you?
Well, I think my best game was Metro. I think it was. We were playing El Dorado. I had like 18 or 19, 20, something like that. I think that was like my highlight of my season right there.
We go to the playoffs. You guys obviously, Volcano's always a playoff team. You get eliminated by Santa Fe in the tournament. Santa Fe kind of took advantage of the lack of ball handling on that team, in my opinion. Anyway, you could disagree, obviously. So they kind of took advantage of maybe some lack of ball handling there. So what did you go to work on after your freshman year, after losing to Santa Fe?
I think just like handling the ball, handling pressure, that was the biggest thing because I really let them like dictate what I wanted to do, but I gotta be the one who's the enforcer, and I just worked on that.
And so what does that look like, obviously, when you improve your game from year to year, right? They say the biggest leap is always those first 2 years. But take our viewers into exactly what that looks like. And what I mean is how many hours, what you're doing, what kind of drills, who are you working with. Tell us what the offseason looks like between your freshman year and your sophomore year.
I was just working a lot with my coach, Coach Chris. We were just working on beating people off the dribble, pick and roll stuff, what to do. Like when he comes over, there's somebody in the corner, just a lot of playmaking stuff.
And like, what are we talking about in terms of hours? Like,
probably like 3 hours a day, sometimes 2 if you could get 2 workouts in. morning workouts and coming back in the afternoon.
Because some of these younger guys that are coming up that look up to some of the stars in the state like you guys, they think, oh, you just show up to practice, you're good. That's obviously not the case. What kind of work are you putting in away from Volcano, away from the gym, on your own time?
Well, this summer I was really working out a lot with one of my coaches, Coach Jay, and then I got another Coach Jay from New Jersey. They really helped me out with strength and conditioning, and then I would go from there to the other gym and work on handles, my shot, a bunch of playmaking stuff.
Now, your sophomore year, you're already on the map. That's rare for freshmen to already contribute, but sophomore, everyone's already talking about you, and you go into your sophomore year and talk about that.
Sophomore year is fun because I got a lot more playing time. I was starting, but then I hurt my wrist, so it really took me a long time to get back in rhythm. But when I came back, we had a good team. We were starting.
But that was a serious thing, right? I mean, that wasn't just like, oh, we sprained my wrist in practice. I mean, you got into a car accident, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
We were doing good. We were #1 in the state. We were beating a bunch of these top teams, and then I broke my wrist in a car accident. And then, we started losing games. Stuff started falling apart. But when I got back, we got back into rhythm, started catching fire.
Right. Now, I mean, that's like a pretty serious thing. You kind of passed over it, but were you worried when that happened? Oh shoot, there goes my season, there goes my career, and did all those things enter your mind?
Well, yeah, it did. Whenever they told me that I was broke, I was like, well, that's the rest of my season. But then Coach Brown told me with the pace that I was on, it would take 5 weeks, and I was just at the start of district going into state, so I was like, okay, I'll be ready for that.
From what I understand, in the paper, right, it said T-bone, right, or something. You got on your side, yeah. So that could have ended a lot worse, right?
Yeah, got lucky on that one.
You regained your rhythm that year, though. And how is that, man? When you miss a lot of time, what's that process like to get the chemistry back, get the rhythm back, reintegrate yourself?
Yeah, it took a couple practices, a couple games, because you're all out of rhythm. Certain stuff just isn't the same. My shot didn't feel the same, so it just took a while to get back into.
Is it particularly hard when it's an injury like that, like a wrist? That's obviously shooters. Is that more difficult than something else you'd have to rehabilitate?
Yeah, it was difficult because it was my left wrist, and that was my shooting wrist. Left-handed, I handle a lot with my left hand, so it was just hard, but I worked through it, yeah.
We'll take another timeout. We'll come back. We'll preview this year and talk about basketball at the next level with Jaquan Hill.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of Proview Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Back with the Hawks, Jaquan Hill. We're going into the season here. I would imagine you guys would be pretty high up on the list of favorites, right? You guys are looking good. Talk about your expectations for yourself and the expectations coach has placed on you guys, and just the outlook, I should say, for this year.
Yeah, I expect to be in the mix. We got a pretty good team, and I really think we can win it all with just the different pieces that we have this year. It's a real different team than Volcano's really had in the past, so I think we got a real good chance to win it this year.
Did you think you would even have a year? Let's backtrack a little bit. With all this COVID stuff, did you think you'd have a season?
I really didn't. Once they canceled like the NCAA like last year, and we really weren't even going to school. We were online school, so I was like, if we don't go back to school, then we're not gonna have a season at all. Yeah.
So what was it like when you got that news? Where were you at? Who told you? That's got to be pretty cool.
I think Coach Brown, he sent like a group message, and he said, we're gonna get back in the gym, start practicing. Because before that, we were just going in the gym, not really knowing, just trying to stay prepared. So,
how hard is that when you guys all have to kind of do your own thing to stay ready? Like, talk about that.
Well, it wasn't nothing for me because I'm always in the gym, like, no matter what. But for some guys, they were just like relaxing, taking it off, like we're not gonna have a season. But it was just
now, were there some guys that showed up to practice the first day, like, just out of shape? Like,
yeah, you get a sense of who.
Did you rag on them pretty good, or what?
Nah, you just gotta be ready. You get a sense of what they were doing in the off season, and yeah.
So you talked about this year's team, and you like the squad. What is it about the squad that you like?
I think we got a good. Wait, hold on.
The mix, right?
The mix. Yeah, we got some good shooters, real good spacing. We have our drivers. We got a new big. He's a sophomore. He's like 6'8", dunks everything. So we're looking real good.
Yeah, I saw him at the dunk contest. I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Right? You got a freshman that looks pretty good. And I got to ask you about my little guy. Like, I think this guy's moving into my list of favorite players. You know who I'm going to ask you about, right? Oscar, yeah. Oscar freaking McCoy. Tell me about that, man. Dude, that guy's energy. What's he like to play with?
I mean, yeah, he's real energetic. Brings a lot of energy off the bench. A lot of guys, when they look at him, they don't really take him serious, but
that's my dude. He's got serious game.
Yeah. He can shoot it well. He'll beat you off the dribble, finish. He's real good.
Are the expectations different when you have such a good group, or are they pretty much the same every year?
I think they're the same every year. It's either you win or you fall short, and everybody wants to win.
All right, let's talk about basketball at the next level. Obviously, this is your junior year. What's the end goal in basketball for you? Is it college? Is it pro? What's the goal? Have you thought that far ahead, or are you just trying to enjoy life right now?
I want to be pro, either if it's like in the NBA, overseas, G League, just as long as I'm playing, doing what I love for money, it'd be real cool.
Offers from Northern and Highlands, right? So that's a good start. What are those? What are the prospects of those places, you think?
I think they're both good colleges, and Highland being the better college is real good because I've been getting other college looks off of that too.
And what's that like when the first offer comes in? Like, does that change your whole, like, is that a whole new ball game at that point? What was that like?
It was different because I'm like,
I mean, you had to know it was coming, but it's still different,
right? Yeah,
it's
still different because you're like, okay, now everything I do has to prepare me for that now because I'm gonna be a college athlete soon. So, yeah.
And then what's the prospect? Again, we bring COVID back into the fold. What's the prospect of, oh no, I could lose a whole year? That had to enter your mind, right?
Yeah, but I just think if you're always ready, it's got to happen sometime. Basketball has to come back sometime, Joe. As long as you're ready, you'll be good.
So take us through that entire process, how it works. How do they express interest? How do you express interest? What will your process look like when you finally do make a decision? Take us through all that.
Well, when the Northern coach called me, Billy Keys, he just called me and he said that he's been watching me for a while. He really likes my game and that he'd want to offer me. And then the Highlands coach, we were actually at the gym and he was sitting right next to me, and he just brought me in the back room telling me that
Coach Dominguez, friend of the program, I'll just say
that he's been watching me since a freshman, and then he thinks I could be a good piece on his team. So yeah.
And I mean that's he said he's been watching you as a friend, and that like you are a household name since your freshman year, right? So that's different, man. Like not a lot of guys can say that. So what will go through the process? Let's fast forward maybe a year, right? And you have your lists made out, and you have all these schools. What's going to go through that process? Who's going to help you with that?
I just think my parents and my coaches, they'll help me make the decision, but ultimately it'll be up to me where I think I fit best. The living conditions, will help me get to where I want to be. I think that's how I make the choice.
Will you reach out to some guys, maybe, like for example, a Taryn Dickey that is playing at that next level? Will you reach out to certain guys from your circle, I guess you could say, and kind of get their experiences?
Yeah, definitely, because they're in college right now, so they're going through it. So I think by the time I'm there, they'll help me and know what to look for and what not to look for.
And so what, we're talking, we said NBA, right? So your NBA guy is
LeBron.
All right,
Yeah.
okay. So that the goal is just to get drafted, or the goal is to play for a certain team, or the goal is what?
I think, if I make it to the NBA, I'll just be happy to get drafted, and I'll put in my work, make sure that I'm there to stay.
All right, so I'm assuming you watched the show last week, right? We had some lists of top overall to watch, and obviously you were a unanimous selection, but give us some thoughts about maybe some guys we didn't talk about, or anyone we left out, or are we just so solid that we hit them all?
I'm gonna have to wait. Did you get Exodus for the?
Of course, I had him on my list. I don't know if Cam did. Cam had him on his freshman list. I had him on my overall
list. Chris Potter.
I didn't have him. Cam had him. So yeah.
Yeah, he's real good. Okay. Real good point guard. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of those guys. Who's the hardest to go up against?
And
when you're playing, who's the hardest to go against? I mean, you see the schedule in front of you. Who is going to give you a hard night?
I think Cleveland, being in our district, definitely one of the better teams in our district. They really give us a run. They push us, but we push them as well.
What about all right, you don't have to name a name, but when you look at the schedule, who's someone's number that you have? Like when you see them on the schedule, oh, this guy's guarding me tonight. I would send a limo to bring him to the gym because I'm gonna go off tonight. Is there a person like who have you had good luck against?
Good luck. I don't know, but really somebody who makes you get out of your seat and makes you play is Trey Watson on Cleveland.
Right.
Everybody wants to beat that team.
Right.
They're always stacked each year, so it's real good to go up against them.
That was very diplomatic of you. You didn't want to list it. So there's nobody you're just taking to town in your 2 years that
I just go out there
when you
and
play this team, you're getting 30.
No, I just go out there and play my game.
All right. Well, hey, man, best of luck the rest of the way. We look forward to seeing that list of colleges grow. We hope you come back, let us know your decision, and good luck in this short year. I know it's going to be a crazy year to squeeze all those games in, but thanks for coming in, and best of luck the rest of the way. That's Shaquan Hill of the Volcano Vista Hawks. Thanks for watching, and good night, everybody.